Welcome to Thriller Nights, your ultimate destination for spine-tingling, true crime stories. I'm Greg, your narrator, and tonight, we delve into a chilling murder mystery that will keep you on the edge of your seat. If you enjoy our tales, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join us for more thrilling nighttime stories. Pine Ridge was the kind of town where everyone knew each other, a quiet community nestled among rolling hills and dense forests. It was a place where life moved at a slower pace, where the biggest excitement was the annual county fair. That tranquility was shattered one autumn morning when the body of Emily Hart, the beloved local schoolteacher, was found in her home. The town was left in shock and fear, and the task of solving the murder fell to Detective John Mitchell, a seasoned investigator known for his tenacity and sharp mind. The call came in just as the sun was rising. Detective John Mitchell arrived at the scene to find the small house cordoned off with police tape. Emily Hart's lifeless body lay on the living room floor, a pool of blood surrounding her head. She had been struck with a blunt object, and the scene suggested a struggle. Mitchell's experienced eyes scanned the room, noting the overturned furniture and broken vase. The murder weapon was not immediately apparent, and there were no signs of forced entry. This suggested that Emily likely knew her attacker. The medical examiner, Dr. Susan Clark, was already on the scene. Time of death is estimated between 10 p.m. and midnight, she reported. Blunt force trauma to the head. It's a violent death, John. Mitchell nodded, his mind already racing with questions. Who could have wanted Emily dead? She was well-liked, with no known enemies. He needed to dig deeper into her life to find the answers. Mitchell began his investigation by talking to those who knew Emily best. He started with her colleagues at Pine Ridge Elementary School. They described her as dedicated and caring, someone who always went the extra mile for her students. No one could think of any reason why someone would want to harm her. Next, he visited Emily's family. Her sister, Sarah, was distraught. Emily didn't have any enemies, she insisted through tears. She was a good person. Who would do this to her? Mitchell also spoke with Emily's neighbors. One of them, an elderly woman named Mrs. Jenkins, mentioned hearing raised voices coming from Emily's house the night of the murder. I thought it was just a heated argument, she said, but now I wish I'd called the police. As he gathered these initial clues, Mitchell's suspicion began to grow. There was more to Emily's life than met the eye. He decided to delve into her past, hoping to uncover any secrets that might shed light on her murder. The investigation soon revealed several potential suspects. First, there was Emily's ex-boyfriend, Mark Lawson. They had broken up a few months earlier, and friends reported that the split had not been amicable. Mark had a history of violence, and Mitchell knew he needed to question him. Then there was Carl Bennett, a fellow teacher who had been acting strangely ever since Emily's death. Rumors around the school suggested he had been infatuated with her, and there was talk of unrequited feelings. Lastly, there was the school janitor, Hank Miller, a loner with a mysterious past. Some colleagues recalled seeing him lurking around Emily's classroom after hours. Mitchell followed these leads, but each suspect had an alibi, and none of the evidence seemed to fit neatly. It was a frustrating series of dead ends and red herrings. Just as Mitchell felt he was running out of leads, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source. He received an anonymous letter urging him to look into an old scandal that had rocked Pine Ridge many years ago. The letter hinted at a connection between Emily and the scandal, though it was cryptic and unsigned. Intrigued, Mitchell dug into the town's archives. He discovered that 20 years ago, a local businessman, Thomas Greer, had been involved in a major embezzlement case. The scandal had ruined many lives, but Greer had escaped with a light sentence, thanks to his connections. As Mitchell delved deeper, he uncovered a shocking revelation. Emily's father, now deceased, had been one of Greer's business partners and had been implicated in the scandal. Emily had been a teenager at the time, her family life torn apart by the public disgrace. Could the murder be linked to this long-buried scandal? Mitchell felt he was getting closer to the truth. The more Mitchell investigated, the clearer it became that Emily had been digging into her family's past. She had recently accessed court records and had been in contact with some of the other victims of the embezzlement scheme. It seemed she was trying to right the wrongs of the past. Mitchell's breakthrough came when he discovered that one of the victims, a man named Robert Hayes, had recently been released from prison. Hayes had been convicted of a crime linked to the embezzlement and had always maintained his innocence, blaming Greer and his associates for his downfall. Hayes had lost everything: his business, his family, his freedom. Mitchell found that Emily had met with Hayes just days before her murder. Was she trying to help him, or had their meeting somehow led to her death? The more Mitchell thought about it, the more it made sense. Emily had been close to uncovering something significant, something that would not only vindicate her father but also expose others involved in the embezzlement. As Mitchell dug deeper, he discovered that Emily had recently contacted a lawyer specializing in wrongful convictions. She was determined to clear her father's name and bring the true culprits to justice. Mitchell found emails between Emily and the lawyer discussing the reopening of the case and potential new evidence. Then, a crucial piece of information surfaced. Emily had discovered a hidden bank account in her father's name, containing money that had been missing since the embezzlement scandal. This account was directly linked to Thomas Greer and several other prominent figures in Pine Ridge. Mitchell's investigation revealed that Emily had confronted Greer about the account. Greer, terrified of being exposed and losing everything, had tried to buy her silence. But Emily was determined to go public with her findings, leading to a heated argument. Greer had panicked. In a fit of rage and desperation, he had struck Emily with a fireplace poker, killing her. Realizing what he had done, he had hastily staged the scene to look like a break-in gone wrong. Armed with this new evidence, Mitchell obtained a warrant to search Greer's mansion. There, hidden among old financial records, he found the incriminating documents linking Greer directly to the embezzlement. More importantly, he found Emily's notes and recordings, detailing her investigation and her confrontation with Greer. Greer was brought in for questioning. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, he eventually broke down and confessed. He had confronted Emily, fearing she would ruin him. In a fit of rage, he had struck her with a fireplace poker, panicking when he realized what he had done. Greer's confession marked a turning point in the case. The town of Pine Ridge was stunned by the revelation that one of their most respected citizens was a murderer. The local media descended on the small town, and the story made headlines nationwide. Greer was charged with first-degree murder and taken into custody. The evidence against him was overwhelming: Emily's notes, the hidden bank account, and his own confession. As the trial date approached, the town grappled with the shock of Greer's true nature and the extent of the corruption that had festered beneath its surface. During his confession, Greer revealed details about the night of the murder that only the killer could know. He spoke of Emily's determination and how he had underestimated her resolve. She had been a threat to the comfortable life he had built on lies and deceit, and in his panic, he had lashed out in the most brutal way possible. The trial was a spectacle, with reporters and curious onlookers packing the courthouse. Greer's defense team tried to paint the murder as a tragic accident, but the prosecution, armed with Mitchell's meticulous investigation, presented a compelling case for premeditation. Emily's friends and family testified about her character and her quest for justice. They painted a picture of a woman who had dedicated her life to uncovering the truth and righting the wrongs of the past. Their testimony, combined with the damning evidence, left little room for doubt. After a tense and emotional trial, the jury deliberated for only a few hours before returning with a guilty verdict. Greer was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The town of Pine Ridge could finally begin to heal, knowing that justice had been served for Emily. In the aftermath of the trial, Detective Mitchell received praise for his relentless pursuit of justice. He reflected on the case, knowing that while he had brought a murderer to justice, the true hero was Emily Hart. Her bravery and determination had exposed the corruption that had plagued Pine Ridge for decades. The town slowly returned to its quiet routine, but the memory of Emily's sacrifice lingered. The school where she had taught established a scholarship in her name, ensuring that her legacy would live on through the students she had so dearly cared for. Thank you for joining us for this chilling tale on Thriller Nights. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more gripping, true crime stories. I'm Greg, and until next time, stay vigilant and stay safe.